get boys to read, to enjoy reading? Is such a thing even possible? Today's guest, Erin O'Donnell, says yes. Erin is a mom of 2 boys, currently ages 13 and 8. She is also the author of a recent Parents Magazine article, How to Start a Kids Book Club, in which she shared her experience starting and participating in a mother-son book club. Welcome, Erin.
Thank you. It's fun to be here.
You started this book club when your oldest son, the 13-year-old, was much younger, correct?
Yes. He was in 3rd grade. He had a gang of friends who had all met in kindergarten. And we were sort of at this moment where I remember one of the moms saying, this is the moment where they shift from learning to read to reading to learn. And, my son was a pretty good reader at that point. He had already sort of started delving into Harry Potter. And maybe some of the other boys were less enthusiastic about reading. And so we were really hoping that peer pressure would be a powerful force in getting them to collectively enjoy books.
I love that your instinct was so dead on, right? Let's take peer pressure, which is going to be a big force in their life, and try and use that positively. And Janet, to me, this just seems genius too. Like you said, he's got this gang of friends, which is a perfect term for a group of boys because that's how they relate.
Yes.
So do this together. Like each individual family trying to encourage a love of books at home is not going to be nearly as effective as if boys are doing this together.
Right. And, it's funny, some of the first books that we chose were not necessarily like the most deep books. They were really meant more, they were just fun books. And I'm thinking of The Terrible Two by Mac Barnett and Jory John. We read that book maybe as our second pick. And it's hilariously funny, and I think that was really one example of a book that we were just hoping that they would enjoy and get a kick out of. And in fact, they did, right?
So set this up for us. I know our listeners are out there going, oh, how's this going to look? And granted, this was pre-pandemic, so I'm assuming that you gathered together. There was probably food, but how did you first propose the idea to them to get their buy-in?
Yes, that's what I want to know too. Like, how do you say to a 2nd or 3rd grade boy, hey, we're going to have a book club, and have them come along with that instead of just saying, that's dumb?
Well, I think, 2nd and 3rd grade is still, it struck me as a kind of a magical moment where they were still kind of pliable. And again, peer pressure played a huge role. It was like, we're going to get together with your buddies and we're going to gather, and this is going to be about you. And I think they really dug that idea, that idea of, okay, we are a club. I think that there was something about that was really appealing.
In your parents' article, you mentioned giving the kids some ownership of it, including, hey, this is your group, name the group. And there were some interesting contenders at the beginning, were there not?
Yes, there were indeed. There was, I remember vividly, actually, the night that we voted, because we were actually at our house. So we were in the dining room, and I remember, just because our meetings have often been chaotic, to be honest. And I remember, sort of the moms all standing around with our glasses of wine, to be honest. And the
Love
kids,
it.
Yes, exactly. I mean, this was fun for the moms as well. But we were standing around, and I was jotting down the contenders. And one of the big contenders at first was the Barfing Book Boys, which they thought was hilarious.
I'm over here giggling. I clearly also find it hilarious.
Yes, right. Like there's a part of you that that relates. But in the end, the clear winner, I still have the sheet where we tallied the names of the group, and so they chose the Lakeside Book Boys.
Ooh.
Which I know there's something about that that's so like old school Hardy Boys or something.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It sounds like it should be the name of a series, right? Like the Babysitter Club, the Boxcar Children, the Lakeside Book Boys.
I love it. And so, and that is actually an interesting point, that it wasn't about the Lakeside book boys and moms. It was the Lakeside Book Boys. So this was really their club. And we live not far from Lake Michigan. We're all sort of like a mile or so from Lake Michigan. So I think it was very fitting.
So you get together. I imagine this first meeting, was this the first meeting you're talking about?
Actually, it took us, I would say, probably 4 books to feel ready to name what we were doing. I think that,
Interesting.
It was really, the sense was that this is for real. Like, this is the thing that's going to stick, right?
Nice.
So if we were using business terms, it would be like you ran the pilot program and now you've decided to scale up.
Yeah. Exactly. But, I think the rituals of the book club were really important early on. The boy whose turn it was, hosted the book club.